We are back here on the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast to dive more onto what happened on the field between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. The Bills making a big statement last night with a 31-10 victory from start to finish. Basically, it looked like the Bills were in complete control. They knew exactly they almost knew exactly how this game was going to go. They looked pretty much in control the entire game and barely broke a sweat, honestly, or looked worried, like I said. The most concerned I saw out of the Buffalo Bills was when they were trying to convert that fourth down early in the game, and they ended up scoring on that. I think it was the first touchdown, actually, in the game. That was as far as I saw their concern go with this game. And then from that point on, yeah, the Dolphins were able to come back a little bit, tie it up, keep it close. But there was a lot of factors in this game that kind of extended this lead and really made it evident that the Bills are reaching a point of being considered, legit this season. I'm not going to go that far yet. I'll explain why in a little bit. But, coming off of that Arizona game where Josh Allen had to be Superman basically and score 4 touchdowns or be involved in 4 touchdowns on his own, he didn't really have to do too much last night. You look at his stat line, 13 for 19 for 139 yards and 1 touchdown. It was mostly the James Cook show on 11 carries, 78 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 1 receiving one as well on that fourth down, like I said. And everything the Bills did, it just seemed so efficient, so quick to score because of their defensive performance as well. They had 3 interceptions off of Tua. The first one being on the first drive, pretty much setting the tone of how this game was gonna go. But even though off of that, after I saw that interception, you might look at it and it bounced basically off of the guy's arm. He just wasn't ready for the ball. I didn't mind that interception. I saw it. I'm like, dang, that was not good. But I didn't lose any confidence in the Dolphins because it was just kind of like a freak interception. Even though the Bills, didn't really do too much. They might have gotten a field goal out of that. The Dolphins were able to come back, I'm pretty sure tied up at 7-7. And then it was still relatively close, but as we went on, the Bills found themselves more in a groove, scoring. The Dolphins still trying to keep pace. Then you saw an interception it was supposed to go to Robbie Chosen, the new wide receiver for them, but not on the same page just yet with Tua. It kind of sails over his head as well, and that's another interception. So now you're thinking all right, that was bad, but we gotta keep it together here to at least make this a little bit close. And then the score was pretty extended, or the deficit was pretty extended at halftime, and then you come back hoping to see a little bit more. The Bills got the ball, but they went 3 and out, and then the Dolphins come out, and the third interception was just pretty bad to say, or to be honest. Tua getting pressured, he tries to throw it out of bounds, but just doesn't put enough power on it, and it just floats right over to the sideline and falls right in the hands of Ingram, the Bills' defensive back, and they score a pick 6 off of that. And it's man, what are they doing? What is this offense doing? A lot of the times I didn't really like the play calling for the Miami Dolphins either. I felt like they ran a little pitch run / handoff to each side 5 times in a row per drive or something like that. It was very odd that they just kept going back and back and back to that same play. And it was weird, again, also because they were losing. So to keep trying to insist on running the ball like that, I get it that you don't want to abandon it. And that's something that teams do too quickly. But you're down at this point probably almost 3 scores, if not more. I don't understand the play calling there. I know probably Jalen and Tyreek weren't having the best game, but I was a bit puzzled by that, and I have to give the Bills defense a lot of credit because even though they only got 2 sacks, they got a lot of pressure on Tua, and he could have taken at least 3 more potentially, but they only ended up with 2 sacks. They were having their way basically with the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins. They got banged up a lot. You saw Armstead go out and get hurt. There was a couple more offensive linemen that got hurt as well and got banged up in this game, and it just went on. I was very impressed also, not only with the secondary of the Bills, but their linebacker, Dorian Williams. He was everywhere. He led the team in total tackles, I want to say. He was sniffing out all of their run plays as well. So I feel like he really made it his mission, his assignment, and just his purpose out there in that game to wreck all these running plays the Dolphins tried to establish. So I was very impressed with him. And again, Waddle and Tyreek Hill were non-evident, at least to their level, like they usually are, because together, both of them, they finished with 7 receptions for 65 yards combined, and that looks like an all right stat line for one of these guys, right? That's how high you hold these wide receivers, and for that to be a combined stat line, just showed the overall picture and the dominance of the Bills' defense overall. And that's the biggest takeaway, right? Right? Because as far as their offense and still being efficient, explosive even without Stephon Diggs, I felt like their defense really showed out in this game. There was a lot, even through all the injuries, to Matt Milano, Teron Johnson didn't play in this game. Also, the new just wave of secondary players that they have in the backfield. No more Jordan Poyer, no more Micah Hyde, no more Tre'Davious White. All those guys are gone, but their secondary played great. Rasul Douglas played pretty well. You look at their linebackers. I mentioned Dorian Williams, Terrell Bernard, I want to say is his first name, if I'm not mistaken. He got injured in this game. He didn't finish the game out. And, even still, their defense was very dominant overall. And on the offensive side of the ball, not only did they execute and were very well coached and came in with a very good game plan, the way that they were able to execute everything and execute this identity and really apply it to the Miami Dolphins was very off-putting, because like I said in the preview to this game, I felt like the score was going to be the other way around. I predicted 30-20 in favor of Miami, and the Bills won 31-10, even more dominant than I predicted the other way around. So their offense really also was the catalyst of everything. They might not have one big superstar anymore like Stephon Diggs, but it's a committee approach. They run the ball relentlessly with James Cook, obviously. Ray Davis got in there a little bit, and he played pretty well. And they're going to stick to it. They're going to stick and they're going to stay committed to this heavy personnel, running the ball a lot sort of approach that has worked for them in these first 2 games. And not to say that I wasn't expecting that from them. Well, I wasn't. But to work at this level and to look this good, putting up 34 points and then 31 points in the Week 2 game, it's very, very surprising, I will say. They were able to use play action a lot. Allen's ability to just run, throw the ball, make any sort of throw as well. It's a tremendous help overall for this Bills team. They looked unstoppable behind Josh Allen, and really a lot of credit goes to their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, as well, because I'm sure there was a bit of a questioning period, some doubt, some hesitation when you do switch to this offense last year. You don't feature Stephon Diggs too much. There's some scrutiny. There's some potential criticism to still stick with it. And now coming out of the other end, looking like this genius now, having the Bills play to this level, a lot of credit goes out to him as well. So the Bills doing a good job on both sides of the ball, even through all their struggles and potential hurdles that could have really affected them. They just keep trudging on. But all of that being said, I'm going to hold off a little bit on saying that, they're for real, like they're real contenders in the AFC, because they held the Dolphins down, and I'm not sure if that's just a Dolphins and Bills thing, with the dominance that Josh has shown against the Bills. Same thing with Sean McDermott, and just how this matchup has gone over the last few years. I'm going to reserve my feeling on the Bills until next week, because the Cardinals could have seriously won that game, and the Bills would be 1-1 with a good win, but also a very ugly loss at home to the Arizona Cardinals. They were able to put up 28 points on them, and if they had a little bit better defense or just some more steam on offense, they could have won that game. So I've seen some doubts in this team that I'm not just yet able to put my full belief in this team like I am with the Texans or the Chiefs or even the Ravens as well. I'm not quite there yet, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm very impressed with them. They're proving me wrong because I had them finish as the third team in the AFC East. So we'll see where they go from here. Part of me thinks that, again, this is sort of a Miami and Bills thing, but you can't take away from just how impressive they looked and looking so dominant on it. The Bills should be probably the favorites going forward, just based off of 2 weeks in that division. They should be the favorite in that division to at least win it or to be a serious contender to take it, because before I had the Dolphins and the Jets. My mistake. Now, I'm sure if we don't see a dominant performance from the Jets, the Bills are going to have 2 weeks where offensively they looked very, very good, very efficient, very just dominant. I keep using the word dominant because that's what they were. So we'll see what the Jets do, but for right now, the Bills are looking like still the team to beat in that division, which again, I wasn't expecting, but good for the Bills, good for Josh Allen. He continues his push for MVP. I think he's making it more and more evident of how this award has been escaping him, and I'm sure he's going to turn a lot of heads this year if he keeps leading this team to a lot of wins this year, as it looks like he will be based off of these performances. But that is all on the game last night. We talked about Tua. We talked about the game. Now we look forward to Sunday. We did the first half of the game picks yesterday on the show. Now we're going to get to the second part of that and pick the rest of the winners for the second half of the games on Sunday. I'm going to go through everything, give my reasons why, and make the picks ultimately. So that is coming up right after this break. We'll be right back.